Howdy YouTube. So we are going to be changing out the strut on a 2005 Toyota Sienna van. This one is all-wheel drive. Some are front wheels, some are four wheels, so before you buy parts, make sure you know which one you got. Alright, you do not need a lot of tools for this. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver. You will need a 17mm socket, a 22mm, a 14, and a 12. I would say that you probably want to have wrenches of the same or equal size. Metric is usually what these run on, so it's not a very complicated job, but it can be a little frustrating. The only other thing you might need is an Allen key, and I will show you why in a moment. Okay, for starters, you're going to want to basically disconnect this plastic cowl here that's right under your windshield. Fairly simple. Right here, you're just going to push back on the rubber a little bit that sits in here. You should be able to lift that up. Now, you can get right to your strut right here. Or if you wanted to make it a little bit easier for yourself, you can pull your windshield wiper blades off and the arms off, and you'll have plenty of room. You really don't need to do that when you're doing the passenger side. However, obviously, as you can see, if you do the driver's side here, you're not going to be able to just lift up on the plastics like you can on this side. Okay, so that's where we're starting out with. As per usual, anything in New England, soak it down a PB blast, and then we get going. Okay, so first things first that we're going to do here, we are going to disconnect our speed sensor line and our brake hose here. This obviously little bracket guy goes right onto the strut, so we want to just disconnect that. We want to get that out of our way. The next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to take this bolt off of your sway bar link. So this is where the Allen key thing I was mentioning comes into play. If this gets stuck, which a lot of times these do get stuck and they'll just spin and spin, which happens. It's, you know, part of life, unfortunately, with automotive. That's where you use the Allen key. So you stick an Allen key in here, get your wrench out on here, and then it's a little bit more brute strength and ignorance, you know, to just pop it off there. Like I was saying earlier, we have to make sure that we are PB blasting everything here in New England because stuff rots. I'm going to show you guys quick too. The reason we're replacing this here strut today is we've got a broken coil. This does not happen very often. This vehicle does have close to 200,000 miles on it. The other coil has been done. I've only seen this happen a few times, but unfortunately, again, as much as I sound like a broken record, New England does a lot of harsh stuff to anything metal, and unless you're going to be wiping it down with some kind of oil and hosing it down every week of your life, this stuff is unavoidable, unfortunately. Okay, so we got this bolt out here, right? And that's the hold down for both your brake line and your wheel speed sensor line. So you want to make sure those get out of the way. If not, you're going to end up breaking shit, and you don't really want to do that. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to take our flathead and pop this open so we can release that speed sensor from here. As I mentioned before, we don't want to break anything, so it's just easier to go about it this way. Okay, so we ended up having to sawzall out the old sway bar link. This does happen. This vehicle, like I said earlier, has 200,000 miles on it, so some things are a little bit rustier than your usual New England stuff. I just wanted to show you guys the new sway bar link, and this is something you'll notice if your links have been changed and you weren't sure. There will actually be, as you can see, a nut on the inside and the outside, so that if this starts spinning when you go to take this off at any point in time, you can put a wrench on here. It's really great that they make them this way. It's too bad they don't come from the factory like this, but most of the time it's because they don't want people working on their own stuff. But anyways, I just wanted to show you guys that. We got the strut back in here already. Always make sure you're routing everything the way it was before. If you're not sure, always double check. You know, take a picture ahead of time. One thing I do want to mention to you, because I did not have enough hands to do all of the above and videotape, when you go to drop your strut out, loosen the top bolts on the top here only a little bit before you disconnect the bottom here, so that way it doesn't just fall out and hit you in the face. Technically you can pull these two out, this here and this here out, with that being disconnected up there as well, but it's just a little bit easier if you've never done it before to have these out first and just the top loose and ready to pop out.